This is Real Change, Real Impact with Brian May, EY America's Alliance Leader. In this episode, Brian is joined by Vinod Madhavan, Honeywell Senior Director, Cybersecurity, Governance, Risk and Compliance.
Welcome, Vinod. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Brian. Happy to be here.
Today, we're going to talk about modernizing risk management. And Honeywell's a massive organization, multinational. You operate in multiple industries around the globe, many of which are regulated. So that makes compliance and risk management a top agenda item, I assume.
Yep. I think when you look at the risk landscape right now in the industry, there are two major risks that I look at. It's cybersecurity threat and evolving regulations. Now we have increasing frequency and sophistication of cyber attacks, data breaches, ransomware, and then you also have evolving regulations coming in, right? So businesses today, when they look at reporting their risk and compliance, there is a real need to kind of reduce the cumbersome manual process.
So our clients are always trying to balance the amount of investment they make in process and controls and risk management versus innovation and growth. And Honeywell is an innovation and growth company. So how do you see that balance playing out in your organization?
So at Honeywell, I think, when we initially looked at our process, we found duplicative efforts that actually added into the inefficiencies of what we do, right? And then, so what we had to do is we actually had to bring a consensus and alignment with enterprise risk management, corporate audit, and other stakeholders involved to build a common control set, which is acting as a foundational data for us to do one control set, test one, and satisfy many.
So you got everybody on board, all the stakeholders aligned, and then you started the journey. So tell me, how does this start?
I think this is where the magic happened. So working with EY and ServiceNow, there are three things that we did. One is, going back to what I said, we built a common set of controls, which is the foundation data for us, right? That set of controls acts as a unified system for us, and then continuously monitoring the risk profile of the the assets that we have within Honeywell. So I think the third one is probably utilizing that common controls and then being able to report it back to the customers or external regulatory. So that's how we started building that system into Honeywell.
So I imagine when you started, though, there was a lot of inconsistency around how people did things all around the world. Tell me about those specific impacts.
The real impact comes in when you look at the number of citations and number of authoritative sources that comes to Honeywell or any industry for that matter. So we have 850 plus authoritative sources and 45,000 plus citations in our system coming in as an input, and we bake that into 252 common controls.
Tell us some of the changes that you're seeing.
So I think in the three lines of defense, like in the first line is where the IT and the information technology, where it's actually implemented. So working across corporate audit and ERM in our team, we were able to reduce the time that we take for doing assessments or audit for that matter, sometimes even up to 75%, reducing the effort that is required. And by doing this, we're also increasing the efficiencies that the IT or the other organizations are building, because now we don't have to go back to them multiple times for the same request, for the same control or the same audit. So we have reduced that by doing it once. So the impact is really seen at how we do within our integrated risk function, and then how this is getting implemented in the first line of defense.
And you mentioned reporting, and I imagine with so many stakeholders that you mentioned, you created a portal now that allows people to, I guess, almost self-serve what they're looking for and try and get to the answers they need around your risk management program. Is that fair to say?
It is, and I think you got the exact point there, which is the portal is the key, right? Now this is where we bring in all the data. We get this integrated into one central portal so that we're getting the right data from the right system to the right people when it's required to, right? Because there is a lot of data integration that happens, and then we do need to get the evidence out of the system. So it is about building that central portal, about bringing all of that risk profile into the central portal, getting the data into the right stakeholders. It may be external or internal, or
Sure.
It may also be within our audit functions, like, how do we get to the right people at the right time so that we can do the job in a faster manner. And also in working with EY and ServiceNow, what we were trying to build is monitoring the risk profile, but also building a 360-degree view into the portal.
So tell us about what's next. Tell us about your hopes for the program going forward.
In our next phase, working with EY and also looking into a lot of functionalities that are coming from ServiceNow, we're looking into AI, bringing AI into how do we harmonize the issue management system? How do we harmonize and then write the management action plans that are easier for IT and everyone to understand? How do we use this to automate more? And we're also looking into digitizing the environment itself so that it's more easier and faster for the stakeholders to use. So I would say bring AI into compliance, bring AI into the integrated system. And then when we also talk about AI, I think it's responsible AI for the industry like Honeywell. We have to make sure that we are implementing the right AI and we're taking that through the process to build a responsible AI system into the whole technology landscape.
So when you look at your transformation journey as a whole, what other considerations were keys to your success?
So it's really working with partners like EY and ServiceNow to really understand from an industry standpoint, getting your input because you work across multiple industries and functions. So understanding that from you and then building that into our own roadmap and then build more efficiency into the system so that even if it's for my own team or for people that are using the system as a central portal, how do they get benefit out of it? How can I really show that this is working and that I'm able to reduce that 75% or 80% of the effort for operations or for my own team? So really building that into the system and taking those input and building that for my next phases.
Sounds like real impact to me.
It is, and we are making sure that it is not just about building technology or process. We're making sure that by doing it, we are able to show real impact and then add value to the business in the process.
So Vinod, my key takeaways are you focused on the common data model to get to an efficient set of information for everyone to use. You created a portal that allowed multiple stakeholders access to that information. And then you really focused on impact. Thanks for being here, Vinod. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me.